Have you ever wondered whether you'd be better off just launching something rather than overthinking it? I find people do this all the time with podcasts and videos, and hands on heart, I've been there myself. I'm blessed with ADHD, like it or lump it, which makes me very impulsive. And when I want to do something, when I've got something in here, I have to get it out there and test it. And a lot of people will spend hours, days, weeks, months figuring out all the small details of whatever it is that they're about to do. And actually, the truth of the matter is, when you launch it, it could still fall flat on its face because it was never destined to work in the first place. I'm a big believer in failing fast, testing things out, building as you go, and figuring things out in a live environment. Great example of that is when I launched the first podcast. People were telling me, you need to figure out X, Y, and Z. You need to figure out, who your ideal audience is. What's your twist going to be? What's the niche? What tools are you going to use? And the fact of the matter is, I just launched it and we pressed go and we figured it out as we went. When you do that, I think it's important that you set a timeline for when are we going to review progress with this and decide whether we should keep going or whether we should stop. What's realistic? Give it enough time to figure out whether it's worked or not. Think about reasonable metrics that you can use to decide whether it's been a success or not. And it's not thousands of downloads and views. But also that's important because at some point, if you've just launched it kind of by the seat of your pants, then you need to go back and make it more grown up. You need to figure it all out properly at some point. All the work that you should have done in advance, then you do need to do that at some point. But you'll find that if you do that after you've launched, it's a lot easier to go back and do it retrospectively sometimes. A lot of people come to me for podcasts and video content, and they really do overthink it. My advice is often just to keep it very simple. Start with the basics. What does an MVP look like? What is the minimum viable product for you? Whether it's a podcast, whether it's your book, whether it's keynote speech, whatever. How do you turn that into something that you can just launch? Because the fact of the matter is, like I said, you could spend weeks and months of your time on this and it still fail anyway. How do you gauge appetite for what you're doing, whether it'll be a success or not? Forget about, fancy cameras and microphones and podcast lighting behind you. And often that's not what people are looking for. And half the time they won't even notice. Now I appreciate some of you out there are very detail oriented and you will have to do this before you can launch anything. I get it. There isn't really a workaround on that. You just need to go through your process. But remember that perfectionism comes hand in hand with procrastination. And quite often if you spend too long figuring out what it is that you're supposed to do, you'll never launch it. And a badly produced piece of content still beats content that never got released. It still has more advantages, more wins to it, and a more positive side to it than something that never got released. So make sure that you don't get stuck into that procrastination. Tools, like quite often there are third-party tools around that are just good enough for getting you going. And you can always migrate later to a more effective, a paid tool. Quite often, the difference between the two ideas is that launching is just about showing up, figuring it out, build it in public view, hold yourself accountable in public. It's not about showing off. It's not about, hey, I've just launched my podcast and look at the amazing background I've got. Some people do have an amazing background, by the way. It drives me up the wall because I'm very jealous. But, you live with what you've got. I'm going to give you some ideas to get yourself moving if you're stuck with an idea that you want to get moving on, right? So open up a document and write down 3 things that you really want to achieve over the next few months. Whether it's a podcast, whether it's being more active on LinkedIn, whether it's video content, whatever that looks like for you. Pick one and then explain it to yourself on video in less than 5 minutes. Just hit record. Don't have to show it to anyone just yet. Record it, do it in under 5 minutes, and then hit stop. Pick one friend to send that to, somebody who you trust. Upload it into, Dropbox or OneDrive or whatever. Send that to a friend and get their opinion on it. You've done 2 things here. You've created accountability for yourself and you're testing as you go. But more importantly, you've took the first step. Congratulations. Let me know how you get on with that and I'll see you on Content Classroom next week.